messages. Let's see. There goes YouTube. There goes X. And that looks like Facebook is, let me see here. Looks like it. Boom. How do you pronounce your last name?
Deal. Like, let's make a deal.
Deal. Okay. Okay, we're live.
Sure.
Anything you say from this point forward will be used against you. Just want to warn you. Okay, so here we are. Let's see here. Let me just get my shift together. This would be all right. This is a cool one. It's interesting how these numbers are playing out. So this is episode 56, which is an 11, which is a master number. And we've got oh, we got a feedback. Is that coming from you?
Oh, we got a feedback. Is that coming from you?
I don't hear anything.
Do you have Facebook open?
Do you have Facebook open?
Yeah. Do I not?
Yeah,
Hold on. Let me turn it off.
Yeah, see that might help.
Hold on.
How's that? Oh yeah.
Better?
Yeah. I think that's all right. It was fine a second ago. Okay. Let me see if I can figure out.
Is it still doing it?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah. Strange.
Yeah.
Do you have a earbuds? Oh, you have earbuds.
I originally had it and it switched to the computer, or not computer, but
that sounds all right. Oh no, it doesn't. Okay, so when you first got on, did you have your earbuds in?
Yes.
Okay, put them back in.
Do you want me to put them back on?
Yeah,
right.
that was working.
Yeah, that was working.
But you're gonna have to.
And they shut off by themselves.
You're gonna have to act. Are you on a phone?
You're gonna have to act.
You're on a phone, right?
You're on a phone, right?
Obviously.
I'm on my tablet.
Test.
But earbuds didn't work. Hold on.
Yeah, you'll have to activate them. I don't know if you can do it. If you can't do it on the screen, because I'm not sure how it does it on the screen on the phone. You can just get out of Zoom and come back in, and it should catch. Oh wait. Oh, well, she did, or did she? Let's see here.
That's weird. I mean, I have to activate it on Zoom.
Test.
It's still on my tablet.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Is it still doing it?
Yeah, I can hear it, but we can give it a shot. Let's give it a shot. And if not, you can just get out of Zoom and come back in.
Do you want me to do that?
Yeah, why don't you do that, and I'll talk to everybody real quick. Yeah, just get out and then go. Yeah, and just make sure your ears are in when you come back on, and it should catch it. It should catch it. Yeah, so we've got a little bit of a tech difficulty here, but that's no problem. We'll do an intro when she comes back in here in a minute. But this is one of the sisters that's been out there for a long time and never been on before. And her name is Missy Diehl. And she's going to be joining us here in a minute once I think we are. I'm not sure what happened to her. Let's see here, but we'll make it. So yeah, this is episode number 56 of 2025. And we're excited to be expanding, getting this thing going, kind of following the same path that we all are collectively. It seems like everything got deconstructed and now it's being reconstructed. And I think I looked today and we now have about 22 shows lined up through May the 1st. And I'm excited about that. You should be seeing us I would say probably once a day, probably a couple days a week, twice a day. It's not going to be um, quite as much volume as we used to do. I don't think I can do 65 shows a month anymore, but certainly enjoyed it while we did it. Here she comes. Okay, there she is. She'll be here in just a second. We do appreciate everybody, you know, coming in and checking us out on YouTube and X and Facebook. And this is a free public service. We do accept contributions, trying to build a foundation so we can expand this new energy and maybe expand the things that we're doing in time as things unfold organically and naturally. Uh, but yeah, I'm starting to feel feel more comfortable with things. I think like a lot of us are. I know we're having our high energy days, and there's just a lot of that, stuff that we have to deal with. Here, let me get you to unmute and we'll be good. Okay. There you go. All right.
Hi.
Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Yeah, we're good. The Chosen 144. I dig the shirt. Where'd you get that?
Thank
Uh,
you. Another one of my podcasters, and I'm sorry, but he died shortly after. I bought the T-shirt from him, and when I got it and I went to thank him, I learned that he had committed suicide. And
Wow.
I'm wearing it to honor him because I don't know. Listen, this path has been very lonely in the terms of I've had no human people that I can, talk to. That's why I'm so excited to talk to you. My podcasters have been my mentors.
Wow.
I've learned so much. It's hard
All
to go
hell,
through something like this and have
all
no
hell,
idea what's happening to you.
yeah. Well, even in that story, but we'll come back to that in a second. I just want to formally welcome you to your
Thank you.
podcast, which is podcast 056. That's an 11, a master number. The last show we did this morning was a master number, it was a 55. Um,
I heard that.
but yeah,
And that's
Missy,
my master number.
oh, it
My
is.
life path number is 11.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
wow. Okay.
So
55.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Wow. I'm
No,
an 11.
11.
Oh, I'm an 11. I'm
Oh,
an
cool.
11. Yeah. And Morgan's a 9 and an 11. Long, because she had two names. Um,
Oh,
s
cool.
Isn't that crazy? So, and
Good.
together, her and I are an 11, 9, 9, 9, and an 11. So it's like 9
Huh.
11's all over us. But yeah, cool.
Yeah,
So
there is a connection to that too, by the way. The
yeah,
9/11. I think it has something to do with the twin flame journey.
I wouldn't be surprised. We've had a few readings
It's
and
just
it pretty much speaks to that. But yeah, Missy Deal's in the house, from Florida. And
hi.
she's an 11 and I'm an 11. And thank you for coming in and sharing sacred space with everybody. And yeah, we
Thank
like to
you.
jump into it. I just want to finish up on that what you were talking about. But yeah, it has been obviously it's been an incredible, amazing, unique, one of a kind uh, journey for all of us. And here we are in 2025, but I think this example of the podcaster you're talking about, rest in power, because we know he's still with us. You
Yeah.
know, just someone who's out there at that level. I mean, and then to have from the human perspective, the extreme of the situation, and what we call suicide. And I just want to point out too, our old friend Franco de Nicola, he used to field, one of the many things that he used to do was field souls as they came out of incarnation and
Oh,
transitioned.
wow.
And he always talked about, that suicides were not, anything, really different in the sense of once they get to that side, it's not like you got to go into purgatory or do anything like that. But
Right.
what he did say to me was, and met several times about suicides, was that the first thing out of their mouth is, "I want to go back." So
Wow.
isn't that something? Um,
Well,
you meant
that is interesting. My mom,
you
I watched her
go
try to
ahead.
kill herself over and over and over and over again. So she
Mm,
was always suicidal.
mm,
And I always wondered about that. One of the last things she said to me, she ended up not being able to be successful at killing herself, but she ended up dying of cirrhosis. And one of the last words that she said to me consciously were, Missy, I've been wanting, I've wanted to die my entire life. I'm so sorry that I put you through that. But now that I know I'm dying, I don't want to die. And that was like the saddest thing I think I've ever heard. So I often wondered, what, like, kind of where she is right now. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Sometimes I think, I don't know. Sorry. Just,
No, no,
I
it's
brought
this
that
is
up because
about you.
of
Yeah,
suicide.
feel free to roll like that. I mean, this is what it's all about. But yeah, I think we've all had people that we know. I have, and that's occurred. But yeah, I think that what Franco had to say is legit. And now you were talking about right before we got on, you had made a comment about, and I think many of us can relate to this. There's no one to talk to in the physical human world, and uh, God has blessed this highest physical manifestation of the ethers we call the internet, which has brought us all together over the years. Um,
Hmm.
but you said that I think again, a lot of people can relate to being able to kind of tap into people's lives through podcasting and that type of thing. And you mentioned when you woke up, and I know I haven't asked that question this year. I used to ask it on every show. When did you wake up? But on the old show, but yeah, I think in this case, I think it is relevant. We know there's not a linear aspect, and that's diminishing. Time is diminishing, and all that. But how did that go for you? You've already told us a little bit about some of your history with your mom and stuff. How did that go for you? When did this occur for you? Was that like around 2012 or was it later?
Well, actual, like, actually awakening. Now, what's funny is I've asked I call it 2019. I had a spontaneous Kundalini awakening. Probably, yeah, I'd say the end of, actually, interestingly enough, it was November of 2018. I had no idea what was happening to me, and it was physically happening. So I woke up in the, like, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning, a perfectly normal human being, so I thought, and I had this rush of energy going up my spine in a way that I've never experienced before. It was freaking me out. And I think if I wasn't so scared, it wouldn't have been so uncomfortable, but I was so scared because I had no idea what was happening to me. I mean, it felt like it was just scary. So the only thing that I could think of was to ground myself. And the only reason or way that I had to ground myself back then that I could think of was, what do you do in a lightning storm? You get in a car, right? With rubber. Well, I didn't have a car at the time. I had a bike. So now it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just trying to not, make this go away with no experience whatsoever. So I go outside and I sit on my bike. Because it felt like there was lightning bolts going up and down my spine, right? So, a neighbor comes out. What are you doing? Are you okay? Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Just sitting on my bike by myself, trying to. But so it was a really rough couple of weeks ago with this energy. But I absolutely no idea what Kundalini was. I didn't even know what spiritual awakening was. I mean, it was mind blowing. So fast forward till Lionsgate of 2019, and that's when I had a full blown awakening. Still didn't understand what was happening, but it was just like the weirdest, craziest experience I've ever had in my life, and everything changed. I literally stepped up and had knowings and understandings that I didn't understand why I had. I still didn't know what was happening to me. But that's what started the journey of trying to figure out what had happened. Because let me tell you, I've been having the craziest experiences. I mean, the only thing I can think about is those movies that they had, Leaping Promise Box. I can't remember what they are, but one about, this, he wakes up and starts building an ark, and no matter what he does, he starts, growing hair, and he goes to try to shave it. And you know what I'm talking about? Bruce Almighty.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about though. That I didn't
One
even
of
know that
those
was.
movies, like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, things are happening, and I can't stop it, and I don't understand it, and no matter what I do, these things, mind blowing things keep happening, and you've got to find answers somewhere. I don't, like I said, I don't have, what I need is like a mentor and a guru, like, in my pocket. But yeah, I don't.
You, well, you have
So
one in your soul. That you have one there.
yeah, I'm
I think
learning that.
I think that's part of what we're getting used to. You said I want to take you back real quick, just so I can kind of get a good idea of make sure I've got it right. Now, you're sleeping in the middle of the night. I think a lot of people, again, can relate. And you have the Kundalini, the chi going up your spine. Uh, and then you have what you're saying, the full blown, now you know stuff a few months later on Lionsgate 2019. Were you diving into any of these subjects or any of the metaphysical stuff or anything at all as far as ascension goes prior to that Kundalini? Were you doing any modalities or breathing techniques or meditations,
No,
or it just happened?
none.
Okay. Okay.
It
Yeah.
just happened spontaneous. Yeah.
And and then
Um,
And then when you had the Lionsgate, when that occurred, what kind of things were happening to you? Because everybody's different, and I think we can really pick up code from people's stories. But yeah, I'd love to hear like what was going on. What were you knowing that you out of nowhere, and did you have any visitations? Did you have any premonitions or anything happen that you thought might that might be something you want to share with us?
my boyfriend at the time, something took him over. Now, keep in mind, he's an atheist, so this is why this is so weird. But something took over his body. I still don't know what it was, but I don't know how to even explain this without sounding crazy. But I went through 3 days where I don't even know how it happened or how I got it, but it's like I was abducted. I stayed here. You know what I mean? And I definitely wasn't him. His whole mannerisms changed, the way he held his body. It's so hard to explain, but I remember laying, kind of sitting at the bed and having this long talk with this guy or whatever it was for 3 days. The only thing I could do was I knew it would be in 3 days because I'm watching the sun go up and back down again. And it did it like 3 times. And I couldn't move. You know what I mean? I look back now, I'm like, how did I go 3 days? I didn't get up to go to the bathroom. I didn't eat anything. I don't even know what transpired for the entire 3 days. I only remember bits and pieces. And it was just bizarre. So many things different happened. I mean, he started writing things like Bible verses on which he had no way of knowing. He was a complete atheist. It was just bizarre. And like I said, I don't remember all of it, but I remember bits and pieces where he was talking to me, talking to my soul or something, telling me about light language, and that's normally the language that I speak. But I don't remember all of it. It's weird. But I woke up after the 3 days, and it was home. I was so weird. Like time had been messed with. It was so hard to explain. It was like, wow. I don't even know how to explain it. But after the 3 days had happened, I was just a completely different person. I had to find answers. I thought it was a twin flame connection because, I guess come to find out, research, when you meet your twin flame, that they completely, I had just met this guy like a couple months ago. And, it was just, I don't know. Like I said, I had enough knowledge in my head or words, or that's where I got the knowledge that I had a Kundalini awakening. There's things that I just knew in my mind, but I didn't trust myself to know because I've had no experience with this. You know what I mean? I know it and I believe it, but I don't know why I know it and believe it. And I don't really trust it yet. So it was weird to go research and read things based on, words or things that were happening that once I researched, oh my God, that is what happened. That makes perfect sense. It's like I'm seeing things in my head and I don't know why I'm seeing them and I don't trust it. I have no knowledge of this stuff. And so after that, things got really weird. Luckily, I found HeartMath. I'm not sure if you've heard of the HeartMath Institute, but I was lucky to be gifted,
Yes.
thank goodness, because this saved me big time, with a personal coach for 3 sessions, which is just enough for me to have the wherewithal and learning to know how to at least breathe and start to meditate, because I don't know how to meditate. I suck at it. So I started to, learn how to breathe properly. And that is a game changer when you get yourself coherent. Turns out I'm very high vibrational and I can do or get very, very coherent when I put my mind to it, which is amazing. And something happens when you get that coherency, and it's a game changer. everything changes even more. And it's just, I keep learning and I'm obsessed. I can't believe how much I'm learning right now about myself and about, you know, crazy things. And crazy things started happening where there was certain people, spirit would start speaking to me through other people. And that was weird, especially at first when you're having a conversation with somebody that you know and about normal things. And all of a sudden, again, their mannerisms change and somebody takes them over and starts talking to me as a spirit guide, which is what I figured out. I still don't have any proof or anything, but that when that happens, it's my spirit guide. And I guess I'm putting it to maybe that whoever took over that guide was a spirit guide too. I don't know. I'm still searching for the answers, but I'm
I don't.
starting to trust myself, and believe. Obviously, I've seen enough proof to know that there is something definitely really happening here. And yeah, I guess it's just learning to trust yourself too. You know,
No, I think your story's fantastic, and I mean that, and not in that it's aberration, but this is exactly not exactly not like everything doesn't happen the same for everyone, but it's the same thing happening. And I just want you to know, like I've had that occur. I haven't had that occur in a really long time, but I had this even your situation with that man for those 3 days. That was the first thing I thought. Oh well, her higher self or team is speaking through him to
mhm.
her. And I had a very similar experience over a weekend years ago, back in 2012, and I also had experiences up until like maybe 2016, 2017, when I was traveling, and that would occur. I remember one time I was on a subway, you know, and somebody just turned to me, or I was in a taxi, and the guy just turned around and said something to me, and I knew it wasn't him, you know. So it's
Oh,
us.
thank you for telling me this.
Yeah. So
Oh my goodness.
you're not alone in that
I
regard.
thought I was going crazy.
No, no, no. You're not alone in that regard at all. It's a very interesting story that you're telling, because the fact that you weren't diving into this stuff at the time, and then for it to hit you like a ton of bricks, basically, and it looks like you've handled this pretty well. So the Heart Map Institute helped you with 3 sessions. Was that right after the Lionsgate in 2019?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. 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 And it was something crazy that happened is one of the things that I guess it would have been, yeah, early 2020. One of the things that was told to me, and this is what's really cool, is she starts having this conversation with me as another person, and she's telling me about Jameson, which I guess is one of my spirit guides, who is in a scene, and that I am a seer and I'm being initiated. Now, I had no idea what an Essene was, and which is crazy because I was in a position where I couldn't look anything up, and I had no idea. You know what I'm saying? I thought I didn't understand. It wasn't until like over a year later, that I was able to actually research and found out that there are people called Essenes and what they actually are. Turns out, I'm in a past life I was an Essene, and I'm an initiate now. That's what I was told. I'm now just now starting to understand what that is. And imagine how much that blew me away when I found out that a scene is a real thing. And like I said, it took me over a year to figure it out. And let me tell you, for the first time in my life, I feel like I've gone home. It speaks to my soul. I started doing the Essene communions on my own for over a year. And I just now found somebody, another you podcasters. I got to tell you, I'm so happy and grateful. You were one of my first, by the way. And that story that you're talking about, Morgan, I listened to a podcast where you two, this is back when I first started listening to you, you and Morgan had been separated. And I listened to you all the time back then. It was, I don't know, you just really brought me some peace. And I love the way you were just so real and raw, and you spoke about things that, like I said, I was so new to this. It was so refreshing to have somebody, because everybody sounds like they got it figured out, and they know what they're doing, and they make me feel so, I probably make myself feel that way, but I just love your rawness and your realness. And you were talking about your experiences that you had with Morgan, and that's a lot. I learned a lot about the twin flame journey from that. And there was some sort. Forgive me, I don't remember the exact experience, but it had something to do with soul merging. I don't know if you remember that podcast, but whatever it was the closest thing that I could find that it helped me understand what was happening that day, like you said, with my ex, you know? So I don't know how we got off on that tangent, but thank you.
No, that was good.
So anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
Keep going.
I don't know where I was.
Well,
So yeah, via scenes. And yeah, I've taken everything to the next level. Now I do them morning and at night. I don't go to bed or wake up without doing my communions. I think it was you that said, us empaths have to get up super, super early in the morning to protect ourselves, and get ready. And I get up at like 4 a.m. and I don't, I got to have at least 3 hours of time. So I do the scene
wow.
communions, and I've been doing a lot of chakra work. And boy, it's just fascinating. It's
That's
just
powerful.
fascinating.
That's a powerful
But
thing.
yeah,
That really is. And I just a couple of comments here. Like, my information that came in, um, um, when I reawoke in 2011 was there was a lot of Essene. Uh, it was very much the Essene consciousness was very much a big part of that as well. To include past life memories from roughly 2,000 years ago.
right.
And then as my journey went on over the years, I met plenty of people that carried that same thing, including you today. One of them would be Judith Kuzel. We became friends, and I learned that from her, but and many other people as well, that have that connection. I think there's some possibility or what am I trying to say? Correlation to what do they call it? The Magdalene Rose
Yes.
Yeshua line, and these are the things that I feel, and you were talking about, how in many cases, and I'm going to speak like it before and after, because I really feel like 2025 we're on the other side of something now. Something's really shifting,
We
changing.
definitely are. And something
Yeah.
shifted about right when Aries, Neptune entered Aries, at least for
When
me.
was when was that?
It was like I'm a different person. Like a week and a half ago.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah,
know the
we're on
exact
this.
date, but
Yeah, yeah.
whoa. Uh,
I would say for me it was like winter solstice was like something happened. And then but something really happened like around April 1st, which would be around the time you're
yeah,
talking about.
the energy's
Yeah.
been off the chain.
Yeah.
It feels like we're in forward motion now,
Hmm.
whereas before it was just like getting through muck, or I don't know how to explain it, but now it just feels like. And you said something on the last podcast that you just did about that. How it finally feels like we're getting somewhere. I don't know the words that you used, but
Yeah.
you know, we're in motion again, and it's hard to get used to because you're used to constantly having to, you know, deal with issues.
Yeah.
You
Well, and
know,
I think, yeah, and you were talking about, and again, there's a lot of people this year on these 50 some odd episodes, as we're talking, we're like, yeah, well, something's going on, but I can't explain it, and that's how I felt. Now it seems like the words are starting to come for everybody, but one of the, I look at the differences. So one of the differences you just brought up, which was something we uh, tried to manage on the old podcast, right? And that was people telling, in other words, before I don't know how you say it, in the old paradigm, uh, we needed to learn some things. So there was you need to do this and this and that. And then there was that element of, oh, well, they're awake and I'm not, and so there was this inferiority, superiority thing going, but I feel like that's lifted now, and that this type of environment, not because I'm involved in it, but where you have an open space and you're just talking and there's no, well, you need to do this and you have to do that. I don't think that's holding salt anymore to tell people they need to do this and they have to do that. We're all self-sourcing. And I
and
really
it's
feel
different
like,
for everybody.
yeah,
You know, what's going to
absolutely.
work for you on your journey is not going to be the same for me.
Yeah.
They're similar things, but I mean, we're completely different, having a completely different experience, you know,
That's right.
and we need to give each other, the opportunity to do that with grace and
Absolutely.
understanding and compassion, and
Yeah.
I think that's why we are going through this, because there is no way you can't do that going through this.
Mm-mm.
It humbles you. It makes you realize that you don't have all the answers, and that there's nothing like this is my first time coming out and speaking about this. I don't know if you noticed, but I have two different Facebook pages, Melissa Diehl and my Unseen Now Seen. And I don't put anything, I don't feel comfortable posting anything that I have on Unseen Now Seen in my regular thing, because I'm afraid of being judged. I'm getting to my I don't give up,
Yeah. I think
era.
that's, see, I think
So
that's
this is
another part of
huge,
it. I think that's another
but
part
I
of
think
it.
if we all did that, I'm not doing anybody else any favors by not sharing my story.
Exactly.
You
Um,
know, I'm going
exactly.
through it and I need to own that. And so this is why this is personally huge. And I'm so grateful,
I'm grateful. I'm honored
especially
to
that
be,
it's
I'm
you.
honored to have you here. I'm honored to be the one that's here with you. And I think another big thing that's happening now too is all that information and all that experience and everything that we have right up to yesterday uh, isn't with us the way things used to stick with us today. Like in other words, the best data, the best intel is right now in the present moment. And you made a really good point there, and I feel like this is something that is going to be more and more widely embraced and actualized and embodied, and that is, and I know it sounds cliche, but no judgment. Because people talk about being embodied and we talk about being present. You can't really be present if you're in judgment. It's kind of like if we're having a
Right.
conversation or two people are having a conversation and one person's talking and the other one isn't listening because they're judging or they're, what am I going to say? Or, what are the, you know what I mean? So there's something
Yeah.
about the communication that's changing. There's something about that. And I think it's the elimination of judgment. And it feels like it's part of the natural organic evolution of our consciousness while we're in this body. So, yeah, I hear you.
And I just
And
had a thought
yeah,
is, how you get rid of judgment is you got to stop judging yourself.
of course.
I mean, isn't that where it's coming from? I
That's
mean,
where
I'm
it
thinking
starts.
about in
Yeah.
my case and I'm like, I'm judging myself. Well, that's not healthy, and this wonderful, um, I don't know. This has been the most exciting week of my life. Like I said, I don't know what's
Really?
going on, but I don't even know exactly what she said. But I was, talking about today and saying how nervous I was and how I haven't even shared the link with anybody because I didn't want people I know to see it. She's like, no, make this be your test to who gets to stay in your life. I mean, I totally butchered what she said. I suck at that, but she was basically saying that you should be proud of who you are and what you're going through, and this should be your chance to go ahead and do that. And if people don't like that, then this is the chance to get off. This is your chance to test who gets to stay in your life because they're not worth it. I mean, not that they're not worth it, but uh, I'm sorry, I really suck at what repeating what she said. But the gist of it was basically to just do it. I'd read it, but I don't have it in front of me. Sorry, I butchered
No, that was perfect. That was perfect, and that speaks to what we're talking about because I think it was end of last month. We do a nightly session together, and long story short, it was persecution on one side and pride on the other, and the element of action, you know, in the middle. In other words, we're hitting a point now where we're starting to align thoughts, words, and actions, and we're in that zero point where on this side of it, where we had this fear of persecution, what people will think is gone, and over here, doing things for ego and pride is gone. So they've come into the zero point. So I think that
that. Makes sense.
what she said is happening now, and I guess that's what I was trying to say was the information that we're getting, the best information that we're getting is to me anyway, in a conversation like this with Morgan or with you right now, or or even messaging back and forth, or talking to somebody on the phone or video, it's real time information, and it's like in a place we're not used to it. I said for many years, I wonder if the most challenging thing is going to be uh, getting getting accustomed to our natural nature, which is what I think we're all
Yeah,
becoming. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I completely agree with that. I can identify that. It's so hard to be, your most authentic self when you've been stuffing it down your entire playing small and changing, because you, if something starts at childhood, they tell you to stop doing those weird things or you're going to be taken away from us. Of course, a child's going to, start hiding who they really are because they don't feel comfortable and they want to be accepted,
Yeah.
and that's years and years and years of programming that we got to undo, or at least I do. I mean, we all do, but that's what I'm
Hey,
undoing right now.
we all do. All we got. This is
You know,
what part of the conversation I don't know if it was. I don't remember now. They're all running together. That's
it's
the
probably
one
hard for
thing.
you to keep track of that, huh?
Our memories are. But how do I frame this up? Yeah, like, but it's not just it's like what we call the 0 point, right? That divine neutrality, that central space where we're experiencing in less and less and less and less diminishing judgment. Okay. Um, I go through this. I look at, for instance, like all these different podcasts and platforms over the years just to see what's going on. I've seen a real shift. I see a lot of clickbait. I see a lot of views with people that are, you would say, or maybe are my contemporaries, a lot of views, you know. And here I am shut down, for a year and a half, like all of us, kind of like getting deconstructed. And I'm not saying that they're not. What I'm saying is that part of this, you know, moving forward and not in fear of persecution and not in blowing smoke up our butt with pride, but being in this middle road isn't just about doing a podcast. It's about me and you talking as friends, or it's about you going down to the store and talking to the clerk, or anyone else that you interact with. Um, and it's functioning. You spoke to this at the beginning. It's functioning without expectation. And it's also functioning in a way that's not typical of what we have done, right? You know what I mean? So I think in
Yep.
some way, being in that central operating field, in the middle of the spectrum, uh, is a direct link to true abundance, which is far more than money. It's the
Oh,
people you meet and the things that happen. You said this has been the greatest week of your life. Can you expand on that?
yes. Well, something happened when, like I said, Neptune went into Aries. I don't know how much you're into astrology. I'm just learning, but apparently Neptune's my dominant planet, and I don't know what it is. I can't tell you, but it's like something took a filter off, and I just don't give a whatever. I don't care anymore. I mean, I care. Don't get me wrong, but I don't care what other people think. I got that Aries juice in me now. I'm not an Aries. I'm a triple Sagittarius with Gemini rising. But turns out there's like some interesting things in my chart. Um, I've got Sun and Moon at both 6 degrees Sagittarius, and then Chiron is also 6 degrees, but it's in Aries in the 11th house.
When's your birthday?
So November 28th, 1970. So where was I going? So something has just changed, and it feels like the chains have been taken off of me. And like I said, I don't care. I'm not afraid anymore. I've realized, and I was thinking about this as you said that what's changing is, for instance, I'm going through my experience, right? And then I'll hear somebody say something just as crazy as what I've gone through. And your knee jerk reaction is, oh my goodness, this person. But as soon as I hear, I'm like, oh no. And I think about my own experience. So imagine if everybody's having their own experience and nobody's talking about it. But now we're way, like you said, we have shifted. We're more way open because I think we're all having some experiences right now at this point in time. So, like you said, we're not, people are a lot more open to it. But see, I don't even care about that anymore. I'm at a point where I just want to be my most authentic self. And like I said, I'm not afraid to do that anymore. And I been living my whole life being afraid of what other people think, what people are going to say. And it's been the biggest jail ever, you know? You know what I mean? And it's just, yeah. So, and for some reason, I don't know what's happening, but this week, like I said, I've been taking chances and I did something that I know normal Missy would never do. And I can't tell you exactly what it is yet because it's not official, but the best, most exciting thing has happened. And it's all because I took the initiative to do something that took a lot of balls. And I was very, very scared, much like I am here right now with this with you. But and something just amazing happened that it changes everything. And God, I wish I could tell you, but it's just it's a good career opportunity. We'll leave it at that. And at the end of the day, even if it does happen, I can't talk about it, but I can't wait till I can. But even if it doesn't happen, I'm super excited because I I actually did something and I wasn't afraid to do it. And I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself. And I know that sounds crazy because I wasn't actually able to tell you what it is, but um,
Keep it to
I'm
yourself.
just very,
Protect it.
huh?
You're good. You're good.
Well, it's not just that, but like I said, it hasn't actually happened yet. And I don't want, I can't say anything because it affects other people. And, but
Well,
just know that it is the most exciting, brilliant thing and everything that I need right now to do everything that I really want to do. So,
well, your hand. Yes, thank you. I want you to expound on this a bit. I just want to make a couple of comments because you're bringing in gold here. The first thing that I want to say is, yeah, you're a perfect living example in this present moment of what I was trying to say and I couldn't, which is to be the best version of yourself, to be you, to be walking freely, without that fear of persecution, without an ego-filled, you know, uh, doing things based on pride, because which is really the same thing. One side is I'm afraid of what people will think, and the other side is, oh, people like me because I have so many likes. But you're exemplifying what so many people are going through, and I would say that you're probably right too about this period of the last 10 days or 2 weeks. This is starting to, this is what I was talking about. It's no longer about prophecies and predictions and I know what's going to happen and I know when the solar flash is going to come, and it's certainly not about our past traumas that we've been putting in place and the internal work that we're doing. It's
mm,
this has become the show. The show is Missy. The show is Todd. The show is each one of us as we continue to move forward in this expanding space. And I really just want to point that out because I think you're a great, perfect living example. And the other thing that I really like about your story is, we were imprinted with linear time, so that was another baseline for judgment. Oh, I've been doing this for 20 years and you've only been doing it for 5 years or whatever, right? That's not true.
right.
We live in a quantum reality. And there's a lot of different math and there's a lot of different geometry than the distortion of the old paradigm that we come from. And the fact that
Fascinating.
you know what I mean? The fact that you had this Kundalini in November 2018, then you had the Lions Gate in 2019, and boom, your story is all of our stories. And again, they may not look exactly the same on the surface, but they are exactly the same. And I agree with the third thing I wanted to say was I totally agree and appreciate with what you said about uh, hearing people's stories because there's more value in that than anything I'm getting. I've done 10 plus years of research, hours and hours and hours, and on all kinds of different subjects. And I know it's necessary as part of our wake up. But the fact is, this is the most powerful uh, code potential to me is to hear somebody's story because of what you said too, in that, oh my God, I'm not the only one, right? I mean,
Oh, you
it's
have no idea.
right.
I mean, you do. But, yeah, yeah. When you said that, you're the first person that's ever said that they've experienced that, and I haven't really told too many people because I'm Yeah. You think that's our higher selves? Is that what you said?
Uh, yeah. I mean, my wake up, the way my wake up started was I was in my courtyard in my townhouse, which backed up to a cemetery or land that a cemetery owned with all these tall trees, and this giant ball of light came in, and the cosmic Jesus appeared in the trees, and we had a conversation. Uh, I thought that was something outside
Wow.
of me, but years later, I came to understand that was me. That was a you, me, we, and it speaking to me, waking me up. And then the thing you had with the man for 3 days, and I was telling you I had something similar happen to me. Yes, and I often wondered about this too. But I had a situation where for 2.5 days, the person that I was getting the communications from was also shape shifting from angel to demon and demon to angel. And you know
Wow.
what I mean? With a voice like the exorcist. So, it's, uh, I think it's important that we share these things,
Wow.
with our human aspect and our soul aspect, uh, being equally, considered and acknowledged and recognized. That to me is the recipe now. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like you
Thank you so
exemplified,
much for
and many of
telling
the
me that.
people I've talked to this year. Go ahead.
No, I said thank you so much for sharing that. That's incredible. And what's funny is when I had that 3-day experience, one of the things that I remember him doing was he walking me through things, like making me remember. I don't know how he was. It was like I was being probed verbally, but one of the things and memories that he brought up was right before. See, I went through something where I lost everything. I got in a car accident and I lost my memory for 6 months. And I ended up losing everything at the end of the day. Through the whole, it was awful. I lost my memory for 6 months, and um, I was a web developer. I'm an SEO goddess. I had my own company, where I was doing internet marketing and building search engine friendly websites. Well, I lost my ability, and therefore I lost my job. And everything just steamrolled down from there. But right before everything completely went sour, meaning I lost my mom, I lost a child, and I got divorced all in 1 year, and ended up homeless for 11 years. And I don't mean homeless sleeping on other people's couches. I mean, I gave up on life and I was sleeping in bushes. So, but anyways, right before that happened, one of the things that this is like I said, you keep going back and you keep realizing that spirit's been trying to get at you for years. You just didn't see it. And one of the experiences when I had when I first broke up with my ex and I moved to South Tampa was I met somebody, and looking back, I don't think anybody else could see him. I don't think he was human. I think it was an angel. I'm not actually sure what it was, but I know that it was a divine thing. And I can't believe I didn't see it back then, because looking back now, it was so obvious. But anyways, he came into my life just for a short period of time. I was working at a pizza place, and I had to train him, which is how I met him. And he was not, like I said, just a normal human being. And when I look back, nobody else saw him. He was never around any other people. He was something. And anyways, he kept trying to get me, play Eckhart Tolle CDs. He kept trying to tell me that I was ascending. This would have been in 2007, 2006. And he kept saying, 2011, 2012, we're all ascending. He gave me this white book, 1111. I started seeing all these synchronicities. I thought he was just somebody a little overzealous, but no, he wasn't completely, yeah. And I don't know, I'm suddenly getting a complete blank as to all the weird things that had happened after the fact. But there were just a bunch of conversations and things that happened that normal people don't say. And like you said, either that spirit was taking that person over too, but he had given me a lot of information and told me basically that all of this was going to happen. I'm starting to remember a conversation that he said that I was going to forget, and said that I was going to go through all of these things, and I did. And it's really hard to explain again, and I'm so sorry about that. But looking back, I think that there was a lot more to that than I could see, and I think that these whatever they are, come into our lives. And I think it happens more than we realize. I think they have a way of dumbing themselves down. I don't know how to explain it. Kind of like um cloaking, or I don't know, like making it, how vampires can look at you and make you think that everything's normal when it's not, that kind of a thing. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
what's
Yeah,
the word?
I think you're explaining it perfectly. I really do.
It doesn't sound right.
No.
But
And I and I and I-
so
and this is crazy. You're an 11. You're a
yeah,
Sagittarius. I'm a Sagittarius.
you
And
know what?
yeah, and I added up the numbers of your birth, and it's a 56. And this is show 56. And you were homeless for 11 years.
Oh,
Um, I
yeah.
uh, I was homeless for most of 2 years. I didn't. There was probably a third of the time I slept on people's couches or in a hotel room. But well, I used to say this all the time back in the day. Some of the most incredible divine episodes I had, which was at the beginning of the first 2 years of my wake up, were on the streets, and
Oh, yeah.
I met many angels, and and they were, and that those were some of the experiences I had where people, the first couple of times I was like, oh, that's weird. But after a few times, I realized something was speaking to me through people. And I could be having a conversation with somebody. I remember I was having a conversation with this lady one day, uh, and we were just having a conversation sitting in a park. She was home,
Cut out a little bit.
and
You cut out. I can't hear you. You're kind of frozen.
I didn't know her. I wouldn't see her again talking to me, and then yeah, that's unfortunate. My back, you just let me know. How's that? It's me. It's on my end. Can you hear me?
Okay.
No?
Yes, I can now.
That's not good.
You can't
Okay.
hear me?
Yeah. I won't go into all that again. Yes, I can hear you. I won't go into all that again, but what I was going
Come
to
on.
say was, oh, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you
Oh,
now.
yeah, yeah. But I remember having a conversation with this lady in a park. I only knew her for about an hour. We talked. And in the middle of the conversation, she said, it happened twice. She stopped. She said something to me in a different voice and a direct message. It happened twice in a 1 hour conversation. So yeah, I think you're right. There's a lot more going on than we know, but we're figuring
I
it out
can't tell you
now.
how happy I am that you shared that. Thank you so
Yeah,
much. It's
yeah.
so wonderful to know that somebody else is going through this too. So thank you.
I've noticed that there's physical synchronicities are increasing. It used to be numbers. That's why I pointed out
Hmm.
what I pointed out about your birthday adds up to 56. This is show
That's
number
great.
56. You're an
What are
11.
the
I'm
odds?
an 11. Yeah. Well, that's it. To see these physical synchronicities, these cookie crumbs, the cookie crumb trail that we left, you know what I mean? The yellow brick road, whatever you want to
Hmm.
call it. I think they're important to point out because there is something that happens, I think, internally within us when we become aware of something, and
Like
especially
an
when
activation.
especially when something gets turned on, especially when we're in our awake state. In you might say consciousness.
Yep.
We're uh, able to understand it in that, or not understand it fully, but able to see it and experience it in that moment as a conscious human being. And there's something to be said for that. It sure feels like
Yep.
it's a whole different world these last well, it's now the 17th, but I mean, it sure feels like it's a whole new world these last 2 or 3 weeks. It really
It
does.
is. And you want to know what the best part is? I swear to you, I'm getting younger. My gray hair has spontaneously went away. I swear to you, I did not dye my hair and I haven't dyed it in years. I used to have gray hair and it's literally going away. I feel better now than I did when I was 20s, in my 20s. And I'm
I believe you.
54. I mean, I feel amazing. I'm spontaneously healing. Listen, was it about 3 years ago? I couldn't breathe. I was breathing at 80%. They told me that I was going to go home on oxygen. You know what I did? I said, no, I'm going to stop taking all of those medications. I don't know what made me do that because I was relying on those inhalers. I had 3 of them, threw them all away, mostly because the insurance wouldn't pay for anymore. So I was like, you know what? Something told me you don't need those anymore. And now I'm breathing at 100%. Now I still get winded, but I'm getting better and better every single day. And I sure as hell don't need to go home on oxygen now. And I quit smoking in 2017 when I quit drinking, by the way. So that is magic in itself. I mean, seriously, I don't understand what's happening, but I've never felt better in my entire life. And I'm definitely going to follow that trail. I want to see what's the end of that one because wow, you know.
Yes, I do. Yes. I know a group over there in Clearwater that has a I want to say throat chakra activation. I want to say it's
Yeah,
60 acres on on the bay. I'm sorry, not on the bay, but
no,
on the Gulf. Yeah.
sixty-eight.
I did a show over there in right around when COVID hit, 2020, early 2020, when we were in St. Pete Beach. But I will connect you with that group. They're good people. They're really good people.
I would love that
Yeah. I think you would get a
because I feel like I'm the only one over here.
no these
I mean, I know I'm not, but
and they were a very diverse crowd. Okay, I mean very diverse.
really,
But I know a guy that's one of the principals there, Jeremy McDonald, very good dude, and yeah, we collaborated when I was over there. I just thought of that because again, it's a physical synchronicity that you're there. I know that area very well. It's a very powerful part of the country, I believe. Tampa is that area is a very powerful. I mean,
that resonates.
there's a lot of, there's the broad spectrum there. There's the what some people call the dark and what some people call the light, and there's a big broad spectrum there. But there's a reason for that. And there's a reason that McEllis military base is down there, and I know people that have had plenty of encounters in South
Hmm.
Tampa, in particular, and in that area. So there's a reason you're there. Uh,
Have
and
you read the book Tampa Triangle?
which one?
There's a little book called Tampa Triangle that specifically talks about the stuff that's gone down in Tampa, like everything that's happened here locally, up to and including the Skyway and what really happened.
Yeah,
And you
I
start reading this book, and you're like, no, yeah. By
no.
the end, you're like, oh my god, this makes perfect freaking sense. And there are synchronicities in there that blow me away. And the weirdest thing is, it was one of the first times that I can consciously, my spirit guides talk to me through books a lot. Well, that's one of the main reasons. Wait, I can't actually completely hear them yet, but they would leave books for me. But this is before I had my spiritual awakening. And I was never able to figure this out. But this book ended up in my house on my desk, and nobody put it there. Nobody. I still to this day have no idea how it happened. Now I know because I believe my guides are doing it somehow. But yeah, you've got to read that book. Okay. And in
I've
that book, it
never heard
talks
of it.
about one Tampa Triangle. I don't know who writes it now, but there's no other book called Tampa Triangle like this. It's black with green on it. And one of those synchronicities in it that blows me away, and I don't remember specifically what it talks about, but it talks about a boat that, and one of the things it talks about is the aliens abducted seamen, people that are out on the sea because they're easier to not have any explanations as to what happened, no witnesses, and some sort of contract with the government. But anyway, one of the books that had a disappearing problem on it was called The Little Joe. Imagine how this blows me away when my ex, the father of my children, and his father literally have been sponge diving off that boat for years. And he was actively living on it when I read this book. The same boat, The Little Joe. I mean, it's the exact same book.
There's no
Like, are you kidding
mistakes.
me right now?
There's no mistakes, right?
No, no. And
No.
yeah, I've been sponge diving on that boat with them. I mean, I personally didn't go get sponges. I did go diving, but no, those things smell terrible, by the way. But yeah, promise me you'll read that book.
I will look that up, the Tampa Triangle. See if I can get the
I'm gonna have to
PDF.
order another one and read it again. Yeah,
Um,
it's there's a lot of Indian um land and
there's no
burial
question.
grounds.
Oh
So
my God,
ton.
no. Florida is thick. It's funny because I first went there in 1999, and I was working for Sears when they were still in business, home improvement division. Um, and I went down there to run that southeast division, and I flew in
Wow.
at midnight. My plane was late, so I got there like at 12:30, 1 in the morning or something. Got the rent car, hit Del May, didn't look at a map, just drove, hit Del Mabry Avenue, hung a
Mhm.
left. And even though I wasn't technically awake, I mean, like many of us, I mean, you had these little flashes here and there, but I remember what I would later, would understand was some kind of download. And I understood how thick it was, both in, again, and again, I see everything as one, but I mean, the extremes of each side of the spectrum, right? I could see it all. And I
Mhm.
had plenty of experiences over there, plenty of them. To include, I was working in Jacksonville, living in, what is it called? Land of the Lakes or Lutz, one of
Land
them.
O'Lakes, Lutz and
Yeah.
Land
And
Lakes are very close to each
yeah, and I was driving back 3 hours from Jacksonville one night on a Friday, just got paid, had a bunch of kids at the house and my wife at the time. And I had suffered seizures from 15 years old to 50. And I was probably like whatever, 40 at this time. And I'm driving home and I'm stressed out. And before I hit Tampa, I stopped to get gas, and it was one of those big truck stations, like a Bucky's, and it was packed. And I had to park like at the end of the park, like at the far out on the parking lot. And so I went and got what I needed, came back, and I was just about to get into my car, and I smelled something really bad, like really bad. And I turned and looked, and it was a homeless guy. And like you were saying about the guy that you trained, I don't think anybody else could have seen this guy. Okay. But I turned and
other.
looked at him and he asked me, do you have any money? And I said, and I reached in my pocket and I had a $5 bill and I gave him the $5 bill. And that was that. But I got back in the car, last exit. I forget the name of the exit, but it's right on the edge of where Lutz is. And as I exited, I had a seizure. And I go off of the seizure into a ravine at 65, 70 miles an hour, go down this ravine and hit a tree in the swamp. And I knew when I can, and because I had a seizure, I was knocked out. When I woke up, I was in the car. There was all this powder. If you ever have an accident, the airbag,
Mhm.
when it goes off, it releases all this powder, and there's a little pinpoint light that comes on and a tone. And I'm laying there, I'm sitting there and I'm like, where, I don't even know what is what. When you come out of a seizure, you don't have any memory, nothing.
Right, right.
And I realized what happened, and I knew for some reason, and I still believe this, that my interaction with that angel in disguise uh,
Hmm.
was the reason I survived that thing. Because if you looked
Wow.
at it, there's no way. The cops and then the paramedics and everybody was freaked out. But yeah, so it's a
You just know.
it's
Yeah.
a powerful area that you're in, and there's a reason you're there. Just like there's a reason we're here, and I think that's another thing that we're going to start to make sense of too. Is as
And I
we
somehow feel there's a connection from here to Texas. I don't know why I feel that way, but I mean, I don't know what we even, I just, there's something to do with Texas. And Texas is another, I mean, it's
I
right
bel
across the Gulf. It's just,
yeah, I
I
resonate
work for U-Haul.
for U-Haul.
I work for you.
Okay,
I've been there 5 years and
so,
we've been through quite a few things. But my thing is, I see so much activity of people coming to like, this area and, you know, Texas.
yeah,
Like as far as activity with our business and stuff
yeah.
like that. I don't know how to explain it. It's just one of those things that I know. I don't know what it means,
Well, there's
but there's
another
definitely some sort of connection.
there's another
Sorry.
synchro there's another synchronicity. So the first time, I told you I went to to Tampa, we had a big office there, a divisional office. And the first time I went out, like I worked probably a few days, and then I said, I'm going to go drive to the beach. I drive to the beach, Clearwater Beach. I took my shoes off, walked up to a tiki hut, got a beer. And when I walked into the tiki hut bar, they had a map of the Gulf uh, on the wall, a big one, big giant one. And I was born in Corpus Christi, Texas. And as I looked at the map, it had the latitudes. I was exactly straight across from where I was born. So
Oh, wow.
there was a Texas connection. But yeah, I could see that. The Gulf of Mexico is very powerful, I believe. It's a very powerful
Yeah, it sure is.
area. The water period is. I have a feeling that
It's magical.
maybe everything we're looking for up there is actually in the water or beneath our feet.
Yeah,
Or
I think there's a lot in the water that we don't know, obviously. But I mean, I think that, yeah, especially in that Gulf, I think there's a lot that we just don't know about that Gulf. You know, I mean,
yeah,
I'm sure every water, but I don't know. I just feel particularly drawn to that Gulf of Mexico.
mm, yeah. Morgan went to a seminar years and years ago, long before she met me, and the speaker was talking about because where she was from in South Australia, they have a Gulf there, right? And that Gulf and the Gulf of Mexico produced something. I don't remember the exact figures, but I'll try to get close. Produced the greatest number of like sci-fi writers and authors. Like there was a
Oh,
mystical element to it, like of the
that's
entire world
interesting.
in its entirety. Like I forget what it was, like 80 of the top 120 or something. I don't even know what it was,
Huh.
but that was the thing was the mystique or the magic of the two Gulfs were, according to the speaker, they were you know producing the most.
I'll bet you there's some other synchronicities with that we just haven't seen yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why I
So
said that.
you said this is the greatest week that you've had. Um, how do you feel about what's coming? And with that, I know what I said about predictions and prophecies and all that, but does it feel like it's just subtly at a
We're just getting
minimum?
started.
Yeah,
I'm so excited right now. I
yeah.
feel this bubble of excitement like
Mm.
I am a 6-year-old that's going to Disney tomorrow, but way, way better. You know, I can't explain it, but I'm so excited. I cannot contain myself. And it's funny because I keep telling myself, don't get excited because then I realize I'm not excited for that specifically. Even if that doesn't happen, I'm still excited. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. I just can't stop being excited. So either this is definitely going to happen, which by the way is the most exciting thing in my life, and I can't wait to tell you. But at the end of the day, I can't stop feeling that I am embodying excitement. And I can't get this smile off my face. And I think something is amazing is going to happen that is totally next level. And I just know that the hard part's over. I haven't figured everything out. I'm just getting started. And I know that. And I can't not know that. I can't unknow that. I know that sounds crazy,
Yeah.
but I don't care.
No, it's not
It's
crazy. Don't
amazing.
forget,
I've
crazy
been
isn't.
struggling my whole life. It has been one big dark night of the soul, and nothing has ever made sense until now. Because now, even at the point where I understand, although I'm still working on forgiving some this narcissistic ex-husband of mine, and the fact that I don't even know if my daughter's even alive. I'll get to that. But I know that this happened the way that it did, not because I did anything wrong or I'm a failure and all the things that I hated myself for so many years for, but I know that there was nothing I can do. And I finally know that for a fact. There was nothing that I could have done anything different because I know this was a contract that I signed up and it happened because I would not be awake having this conversation with you right now had I not lost every single thing in my life to where I had nothing left to do but turn internal. I had no choice because that's all that was left at the end of the day. And I wasn't about to kill myself, unalive myself, because I watched my mom do that, and I never understood it. And I never got suicidal. I really didn't. I didn't want to live, and I didn't want to be here anymore, but not enough to unalive myself. You know what I mean? I was hoping maybe I'd accidentally, you know, I mean, I didn't treat myself very good, and I stayed a good, solid, drunken high for a good many years because you have to sleep on the street, especially when you blame yourself for being there in the first place. You know what I mean? But the best part is I don't blame myself anymore. I know that I signed up to do this for some reason, and I know for a fact that as sad as it is, and if I could go back and keep my mom and keep my child and have my life like I wanted it, I honestly wouldn't, because I don't want to be asleep. True happiness is not the things that you have and the things that you do, but it's how you feel right now inside, and owning everything that you are inside, and loving yourself and understanding yourself. I didn't know who the hell I was. I had no idea. I was looking everywhere else but inside and taking care of everything and everybody else. There is nothing like knowing yourself. There is nothing like the feeling that I have. I love myself now, and I don't think anyone in my family's ever done that before. I really am breaking these chains and these cycles, and I know that my kids aren't going to have to go through what I went through. I know that in my heart. I don't understand it still, but
I'm
I
with you.
know in my heart that I've done this. And I there is nothing like feeling the love that you have for yourself, because you know everything else could fall apart again. I could be homeless again. I wouldn't care. I
I
really
know.
wouldn't right
I'm
now.
with you. I know. I know. You're speaking my language. I mean, I totally get
You
what
can't.
you're saying, and I also get the, and whether it's whatever, it doesn't matter if it's sex, drugs, rock and roll, beer, whiskey. It doesn't. It could be shopping. It could be so many different things. But because I totally get what you're saying, because I did learn that in those 2 years. I learned a lot of things, and I learned that you can lose your fucking mind by human standards, right? Psych wards and jail and all that, and find the light at the same time. That's something I'll never. And like you said, and I made plenty of videos when I first started making videos. I didn't interview people. I would just get my phone and make videos, and I remember making one video saying, you take everything away, every single thing, every belief system, everything, take it away. That's how you find your soul, and that's how you test your faith. And that's what the streets taught
And I
me.
have my
So,
faith.
yeah, I think we all do,
I
or we
have my
wouldn't
faith
be here.
now. I never.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm in just such a wonderful place right now, and I am so grateful. Oh my goodness, I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for my job. I'm grateful for my home. I'm grateful for this conversation, my friends. I mean, you know, I've just never been so grateful in my entire life, and
well,
that really is the key to happiness, by the
you would never have known that you'd never done this before because you're a natural at it, and your spirit is invigorating and inspiring. Uh, so I'm not a I don't
Thank you.
claim to I don't claim to be a but I would say I wouldn't be
You're easy
surprised.
to talk.
Huh?
I think you're easy to talk to. Thank you.
No. Oh,
And you know what I find interesting too, and this is what started to do fascinating to me. And one of the reasons why I'm really working on this is because I learned that I'm a generator. I'm supposed to be, and I was born super freaking confident. Okay. So there's something about reading that I'm supposed to be confident. You know what I mean? I was born that way. And so this is all something that can be fixed. You know what I mean? Because I was so not confident and insecure my entire life. And that's a scary place to be. I don't ever want to be like that again.
no.
You know, terrified and timid to say something and be yourself. And I mean, that's a horrible place to be. So it was just funny when you started. I remember reading that and being like, me, oh, I'm not confident. They're wrong. But then you realize how much of that is programming and totally not you. So that kind of gave me the confidence to find my confidence. I feel that.
You no, you speak from humility and grace and like you said earlier, the truth. You said, I don't think I'm explaining that very well. Well, the truth kind of explains itself, and it's not just the words anymore. It's not
Right.
it's not even it's the whole band of frequencies that make up your vibration that you're sharing with us and opening it up to us. I'd
I
love to
want to
get
help
together
people.
with you. Huh?
I
I know
want to
you
help
do.
people. I want to help people.
I can tell. And that's what I
Make
was
it
saying. I
less
wouldn't be surprised
confusing
if,
and
oh, go ahead.
painful. I mean, just, oh, one person, what I feel right now. You know what I mean? And oh my God, that would be the most beautiful. I personally know how hard it is to yourself, make life, and not understand. I mean, I guess another mitigating factor is, how can I ever help anybody if I'm not being honest with myself and honest with everybody with my experience? I'm not doing anybody any favors if I'm not. But, so
No, you're getting it done.
sorry, I didn't mean.
Oh, you're
But yes, I would love to talk to you again. Uh-oh, what happened? Do you have a
almost
spider?
broke my chair. No, yeah, I'd love to get
Uh,
together with you again sometime. What I was going to say is I wouldn't be surprised at all if you're in front of people, speaking in front of people in time.
I've had a lot of signs that that's what I'm supposed to do. That
I could
I'm
see that.
literally supposed to do that.
I,
And when I heard that too, I'm like, "Ooh, me? No, you must have me. You must be making a mistake." But it
no,
feels right. It resonates. And
hey,
what I would love to do is after I get my confirmation of what is about to happen, I would love to come on here again and tell everybody in the world what has happened and share my experience.
you
But I
know,
can't do it right now.
that's
Spoiler alert.
that's an spoiler alert. That's another thing I want. Well, you said this earlier, and I'll give you an example that we just had about 6 weeks ago. So we're kind of doing what we've always done. We're just living day to day, and so there was this property that came up. They were looking for a house sitter, pet sitter, and it was on the beach. Like had a tunnel coming out of the house. I mean, it was like 2 story. It was like it was
You
solid.
mosquito.
Yeah, it was solid, and so we took it in just like you, and didn't. In other words, we let it go, and because we knew it was a good sign whether we got it or not. And we didn't get it, but the fact was it was a sign telling us we're headed the right direction. You know what I mean? And that's what you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I think the way this new thing works is like you said, you're grateful. And that one of the other things that really helped me, I think, when I first came off the streets was the fact that yeah, I did it. I didn't do it for 11 years. That's golden. But when you've been there, it's so easy to say, I got a roof over my head and I'm warm. I'm not in the cold. I'm not in the severe heat. I got a roof over my head. And as a human being, that's something I think that, I overlooked until my experience there that you can relate to. I
Yeah,
know you,
you do.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you do. And you know
And,
what? I
and
never thought I
food.
was going to be out again. I never thought that I was going to pull myself out of it. I used to watch the people downtown St. Pete and be like, oh my God, I was so ashamed of myself. And I was dirty and smelly and
Yeah.
I just seriously never thought I would pull myself out. And it's just so beautiful to me, especially even after my spiritual awakening. I was just getting started. And like I said, listening to you, and now I'm talking to you, and the two different people that we were 4 years ago, you know what I mean? And
Right.
how much I've grown, and I'm just so excited and so grateful. And I mean, we're just getting started, This is just the beginning. Can you imagine what's going to be like next year? You know,
It's
when
next
I look
year.
at how much I've learned
How
from
about
now to
hell?
4 years,
I told
next
Morgan
month.
I told Morgan when we got to the end of March, I'm like, holy shit, man, I can't. I mean, this is crazy. Like March was like bigger than the previous 62 years.
I know.
you,
It was like
and
three
then
years in March.
we get into April about 8 or 10 days, and it's like it's blows March away. So
Oh
I
my goodness.
really I mean, April's been, and look, we got Easter this weekend. It's resurrection energy. I mean, it's going to be, and it's a
The
33
resurrection
day.
day. Yep.
Yeah. Easter is a
Yeah.
33 day, so that's going to be huge. That's the Christ consciousness number. So, but listen, I'm going to reach
Yeah.
out to you. I'm going to connect you with some people over there
That
and
would be amazing. Thank
follow up with you on a couple of other things. I just want to say, it's been a deep honor, really has, to hear your story. It wasn't easy for me to get back on this horse, after 4,000 plus shows and another, 1,500 video productions, but this is what makes it worth it to me. And I feel like that this is the energy of abundance and magic and alchemy and grace and love. And so I just want to say personally, thank you very much. I think you're doing humanity a great service. And I know you and I and all of us
you are.
listening want to be of service, but we are being of service. We are doing what you said at the beginning, which is to be your best version of yourself, and thank you for
Yeah.
being so open. And it's kind of funny
Thank
because when
you.
I sent you the message, you're like, oh my God, you're talking about going live. And I'm like, yeah, is that okay?
That totally happened by accident, Todd. I saw it on Facebook and I didn't even see it was you. Honestly, somebody said, "Hey, would you like to have a real conversation?" I'm like, you know what? That would be fabulous. Yes. I thought you meant let's just chat online. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
hey, anybody want to talk? I've been dying to talk to somebody. And then you texted me and it says Todd McGee. I'm like, no way.
Hmm. I
That
enjoyed it.
blew me away. So I'm like, and I almost didn't do it, but thank
I
you,
really enjoyed
Aries.
it. I really enjoyed it. Are you in Clearwater proper or Clearwater Beach?
Yeah,
Uh,
Clearwater.
Clearwater. Okay. All right.
Clearwater, right at Clearwater and Largo area.
Okay. Yeah, that's exactly where, very close to where this group is. So I will reach out
Oh,
to
I
some
can't wait.
people and I'll get you connected to some people and follow up with you on some other things. Thank you
Thank you
so
so much, Todd.
much,
This
Missy.
has
Thank
been
you for
so wonderful.
really. Thank you. I mean, I really, really made my day, and like I said, this is what has inspired me to keep going with this thing. You know.
You know
So
what's
thank.
funny is I've watched you on many different platforms and many different, and I feel like finally in the place where you're thriving. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but you, you're really killing it. Like, you know what I
Thanks.
mean? I can feel your energy. It's right where it needs to be, and I think, yeah, I'm very happy and proud, of you and what you're doing, and I can't wait to see what happens next.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Thank you. I'll shut up
No, no, you take
now.
care. Blessings of grace. And no matter what happens, just remember that was a great sign, and I know things will work out perfectly for you, and because you designed this whole thing.
They already
So,
have.
all
All
right.
right. Well, thanks again, Todd. I hope you have a beautiful day.